The modern Windows experience has become a masterclass in user hostility. You sit down at a machine you purchased with your own money, only to find that your time, your attention, and your data are no longer entirely your own. The operating system interrupts your workflow to advertise a new subscription service. It forces a system restart in the middle of a rendering process because a background telemetry update demanded priority. It integrates an artificial intelligence assistant into the taskbar, the start menu, the file explorer, and the web browser, whether you asked for it or not. The boundaries between a functional tool and a digital billboard have entirely dissolved. Eventually, the friction becomes too much. You open a search engine and type 3 words that mark the beginning of a very different kind of frustration. Switch to Linux. Almost instantly, the relief of escaping a corporate walled garden is replaced by the paralyzing weight of absolute freedom. You are not presented with a single alternative. You are presented with over 600 different versions of an operating system, each maintained by different communities, governed by different philosophies, and defended by fiercely loyal users. You visit community forums seeking guidance, only to find a landscape of tribal warfare. One faction insists that anything with a graphical interface is for the weak. Another warns that the distribution you just downloaded will inevitably break your audio drivers. A third simply tells you to compile your own kernel and vanishes into the digital ether. The sheer volume of choice, combined with the threat of breaking your only computer, is enough to drive most people straight back to the familiar misery of Windows. If you are tired of letting a corporation dictate how you use your own hardware, you are exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to Tech Reporter, because today we are going to cut through the dogma, dismantle the tribalism, and map out exactly which Linux distribution is going to give you your machine back. To navigate this landscape, you first have to understand what you are actually looking at. The word distribution, or distro, is thrown around constantly, often without explanation. Linux itself is not a complete operating system. It is a kernel. Created by Linus Torvalds in 1991, the kernel is the foundational layer of code that sits between your software and your physical hardware. It manages the processor, allocates memory, and facilitates communication with your storage drives. By itself, a kernel is entirely invisible and unusable to a normal person. It has no desktop, no web browser, and no way to install applications. A Linux distribution is the complete architectural structure built on top of that foundation. It takes the raw kernel and wraps it in a desktop environment, a package manager for installing software, a suite of default applications, and a specific set of rules about how the system should behave. That final element is where the 600 variations come from. A distribution is ultimately a manifestation of philosophy. Some developers believe an operating system should be an impenetrable fortress of stability, where software is tested for years before reaching the user. Others believe you should always have the absolute latest code, even if it occasionally causes the system to collapse. Finding the right distribution is simply a matter of aligning your personal tolerance for friction with the philosophy of the developers. For the vast majority of people fleeing Windows, the priority is not ideological purity or cutting-edge code. The priority is a machine that simply works. For these users, the conversation begins and ends with Linux Mint. Mint has held the position of the most recommended beginner distribution for years, and it achieved this through a relentless focus on pragmatism. Out of the box, it looks and behaves almost exactly like Windows 7 or Windows 10. The taskbar is at the bottom, the application menu is in the corner, and the file manager operates on familiar logic. More importantly, Mint includes proprietary media codecs and hardware drivers during the installation process. It does not ask you to open a terminal to watch a video or connect to Wi-Fi. Its entire design philosophy is built around the idea that the user has better things to do than configure an operating system. If your only goal is to install a system and immediately get back to work, Mint is the definitive answer. Zorin OS operates in this same pragmatic space, but targets a different psychological need. It is designed specifically to ease the visual transition for users coming from either Windows or macOS. Through its appearance tool, Zorin can mimic the layout of competing operating systems with a single click, providing a polished, highly curated aesthetic that feels premium and intentional. It is the bridge for those who want the stability of Linux without sacrificing the visual refinement they are used to. But as you move deeper into the ecosystem, the focus shifts from simple familiarity to community infrastructure and hardware integration. Ubuntu remains the undisputed heavyweight of the Linux world. Backed by Canonical, it possesses a gravitational pull that shapes the entire ecosystem. When a software developer decides to support Linux, they build for Ubuntu first. When a hardware manufacturer certifies a laptop for Linux, they test it on Ubuntu. If you encounter a highly specific error, the solution on the first page of your search results will almost certainly be written for Ubuntu. This sheer mass of community support makes it the safest long-term investment for a beginner. Yet, Ubuntu has faced criticism for its push toward proprietary packaging formats, leading many to seek alternatives that offer more control without sacrificing ease of use. This is where Pop! OS enters the narrative. Developed by System76, a company that manufactures its own Linux hardware, Pop! OS was built to solve the specific frustrations of power users and creators. Historically, NVIDIA graphics cards and Linux have existed in a state of perpetual conflict, requiring manual driver installations and constant maintenance. Pop! OS eliminates this entirely by shipping a dedicated installation image with NVIDIA drivers pre-configured and tested. Furthermore, it introduces an auto-tiling window manager directly into the desktop environment, allowing users to organize complex workflows without ever touching a configuration file. It is a system designed by people who build computers for a living, resulting in an experience that feels incredibly cohesive. For those who want to exist on the bleeding edge of technology, without sacrificing system integrity, Fedora represents the perfect equilibrium. Sponsored by Red Hat, the corporate giant that dominates enterprise Linux, Fedora serves as the upstream testing ground for technologies that will eventually power global server infrastructure. It is one of the first distributions to adopt modern display servers like Wayland and advanced audio systems like Pipewire. Fedora operates on a strict 6-month release cycle, providing a constant stream of updated software that has passed rigorous quality assurance. You get the newest features before anyone else, but you are protected from the catastrophic breakage that often accompanies untested code. It is the choice for developers, engineers, and users who view their operating system as a professional tool that must remain both current and reliable. However, the narrative of Linux has fundamentally shifted in recent years, driven by an industry that previously ignored it entirely. Linux gaming was once considered a technical punchline, a pursuit reserved for those willing to spend hours compiling compatibility layers just to run a decade-old title at half the frame rate. That paradigm was shattered by Valve. In their effort to build the Steam Deck, Valve invested heavily in Proton, a sophisticated translation layer that converts Windows graphics and system calls into Linux instructions in real time. Almost overnight, thousands of Windows-exclusive games became perfectly playable on Linux. This renaissance birthed a new category of specialized distributions. Bazzite is an immutable distribution built on Fedora's architecture, designed specifically to replicate the seamless experience of a gaming console. The base operating system is read-only, meaning it is virtually impossible to break through normal use. Updates are applied as complete system images in the background. If an update fails, the system simply rolls back to the previous version on the next reboot. It comes with every gaming peripheral driver, codec, and compatibility layer pre-installed. Nobara takes a different approach. Maintained by an engineer deeply embedded in the Proton development community, Nobara takes the stable foundation of Fedora and injects it with aggressive, highly specific kernel patches designed to reduce input latency and maximize frame rates. It strips away enterprise bloat and preloads every gaming utility a user could need, functioning as a finely tuned engine built for a single purpose. At the absolute extreme of this spectrum lies Arch Linux. Arch is not a product you consume, it is a process you endure. It operates on a rolling release model, meaning there are no versions, no major upgrades, and no reinstallations. You install it once, and it updates continuously forever. The installation process is entirely command line based, requiring the user to manually partition drives, establish network connections, and select every single component of the desktop environment. This is not a punishment, it is a filtration system. Arch forces you to understand exactly how your machine operates. In exchange for this steep learning curve, you gain access to the Arch User Repository, a colossal community-driven database containing virtually every piece of software ever written for Linux. You also gain access to the Arch Wiki, widely considered the most comprehensive and meticulously maintained technical documentation in the software world. Arch users are often stereotyped as elitist, but their evangelism stems from a genuine sense of accomplishment. They built their system from the ground up, and it runs exactly as they commanded, with zero background processes they did not explicitly authorize. Ultimately, the most closely guarded secret in the Linux community is that for 95% of daily tasks, the distribution you choose barely matters. The web browser is identical, the Office suites are identical, the underlying kernel managing your hardware is identical. The differences lie entirely in the delivery mechanism, the update philosophy, and the degree of control you are willing to exercise. If you are paralyzed by the options, the solution is simply to begin. Install Linux Mint. Use it for a week. The beautiful, subversive reality of Linux is that failure carries no penalty. If you make a mistake, or if you simply want a different experience, you can wipe the drive and install a completely new operating system in 10 minutes. This freedom is becoming increasingly critical. Microsoft is marching toward the end of life for Windows 10, preparing to strand millions of perfectly functional computers on an island of unsupported hardware, forcing an artificial upgrade cycle that benefits no one but the manufacturer. You do not have to participate in that cycle. The tools to reclaim your hardware are already here, waiting to be deployed. If you want to master the technology that powers the modern world and refuse to be treated as a product by the companies you buy from, make sure you are subscribed to Tech Reporter. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an investigation, and let us know in the comments which distribution.